By George, I think I've got it.
Hybrothetical Thinking.
I saw that Bigfoot walking across the screen and I thought to myself, wow, they are real.
I ask us all, is that really reasonable?
Hybrothetical Thinking.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
I'll show you a little of the evidence.
Hybrothetical Thinking.
Researchers at Stanford University School of Medicine have pioneered a cancer vaccine that eliminated all traces of cancer in mice.
You could find evidence of that, my friends. You could change the world.
Hybrothetical Thinking, a podcast for the hypothetical thinker.
Greetings, travelers, and welcome to Hybrothetical Thinking, a semi-informative podcast that explores the journey from probability to inside of Johnny's possibility. My name is Nick Floyd, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Taylor Nelson.
Jonathan Clark.
And the way this works is that either Taylor or myself will do the research for our weekly episodes, and Johnny goes into every episode completely blind, which means he has no idea what we're covering each week. Very similar to George Washington.
I don't understand the reference, but I'm assuming you're correct. Yeah.
That's a deep cut. George Washington had a podcast. Listen, George Washington had a podcast back in 1875.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, it was about the idea of chopping down the John Wilkes Booth.
A 100% factual podcast. Only facts were told.
Yeah.
George Washington talked about chopping down John Wilkes Booth, who killed the fifth president.
It was John
No, he killed
Wilkes.
5 presidents.
It was a man named John Wilkes, and he just chopped his booth down because it was also made out of cherry wood.
He had a podcast
Cherry
about
wood.
this.
Yeah, he had a podcast about how to chop down John Wilkes' cherry booth.
It's
How to whittle
cherries.
things out of cherry trees. Cherry wood.
I'm going to need a fact check, but I don't buy it so far. Anyways.
All right, Taylor, you got some news for us today?
We got a little bit of news here. We're pulling this one from recent times. How familiar are you guys with lactoids?
Like
Lactades, if you will.
Yeah, I know lactates, but
I
what's
know,
a
I'm
You know
lactose
lactates?
intolerant.
I know
You're
lactates.
lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
We just
Oh,
talked
I didn't
about
know
this, like, we talked about this like 10 seconds ago. I said, Nick, what's your favorite type of ice cream? And he said, I don't know, one that's not dairy, because I'm lactose intolerant.
I said, man, I can't
Dude,
eat ice
bruh.
cream. That thing makes me go to the bathroom.
So depressed, like.
What kind of dairy-free ice creams are they? Are they any good?
Yeah, there's
No.
So Almond, which is one of my personal favorites.
That's disgusting.
But
Okay.
I stick with gelato mainly. It is a cookie crumble gelato with caramel drizzle.
Now, is it true that gelato does not contain dairy? Is that the case? I didn't know that.
No,
I don't know, but it doesn't
I thought
make my
the
tummy
difference
upset.
between gelato and ice cream was
So it's
the
like the texture?
time it took to churn, and the way it was churned is it which allows either more or less air into the cream.
Well, maybe you just cracked this nut right open and proved the point that, you know what, it's mind over matter. Always.
It's a placebo. It's a gazebo.
It's a gazebo effect.
No, hey, I'm not gonna lie. Lactose is crazy. For some of you guys out there who may not know me very personally, I've battled addiction in the past, and that addiction is in the form of Haagen-Dazs and currently Bluebell.
Oh, you're on the
It's got
Bluebell?
It's got its hooks in my back, but the past few weeks I've been weaning myself off. It's the Bluebell cookies and cream. It's fucking good. But I've been weaning myself off. I've been doing pretty good. I've been noticing a change in the body type. I've been noticing a change. But dude, recently I dipped back in. I had this gallon in the freezer that's been sitting there, and I don't like letting stuff get freezer burnt, you know? So I was like, okay, if I'm good about it, I can have like a half a cup, you know?
A
So I
day?
did. You act like that's a lot, dude. I'm like I am over a pint a day kind of guy.
Oh my gosh.
Today's
Over a pint
episode
a
is
day.
Taylor's intervention.
No, guys, there was a point in my life when I was hooked onto the Haagen-Dazs. It was chocolate peanut butter Haagen-Dazs, and it was specifically in pint forms. And I would buy these pints being like, I'm responsible. I'm just eating a pint of ice cream. But I would make sure I had multiple pints on deck at all times. So it got to the point where it was like, okay, I'm eating a pint every single day. And then it got to the point I was eating 2 pints some days. Then it got to the point where I was mostly eating 2 pints a night. Then it got to the point where I was eating 3. I was waking up in the middle of the night, in the morning, covered with ice cream,
Oh my god!
Stains on my couch, dude. I would like wake up in the middle of the night and I would go to my fridge and I would just start eating ice cream. And I'll fall asleep on the couch with a full thing of ice cream and it would melt on me.
He was having an OBE.
Oh my gosh!
All throughout that, my girlfriend stayed with me.
Aw. Shout out.
Yeah.
An OBE with
I forgot
ICE.
her name, but I swear I had a girlfriend once. I swear.
Well, as long as you stayed it through with you, because that's really impressive. The fact that you went through this whole relapse of a dairy addiction. I know Taylor personally, and he's addicted to pizza, which is also unhealthy. But I don't think the quantity of what
People
he's
would
eating
argue
is that crazy.
Well, the reason we're talking about lactoids so much is there are so many different flavors, different types of lactates, dairies that you can flavor your coffee with, or flavor your chocolate milk with, or I guess it'd be the base of your chocolate milk.
Flavor your chocolate milk.
There's soy milk, goat milk, coconut milk, almond milk, Cambodian
milk.
breast milk. There's non-dairy creamers. Where in the world do you draw the line? Now, in a past episode, we talked a little bit about cow farts. So we'll bullet point these cow fart facts just so these new listeners that we've grabbed here recently can come along for the ride. So cows produce up to 750 million tons of milk each year. That's collectively, obviously. There are 1.5 billion cows on the earth. Each cow per day is releasing around 40 gallons of methane via their farts and belches. And it's actually the belches that are more damaging. And that's 95% of the problematic greenhouse gases that we're dealing with right now.
The burps are more? Really?
Yeah, the burps are apparently worse, yeah.
I've never heard a cow burp. I didn't know they did
never
that.
heard
I
about
had the ability.
Maybe that's what a moo is. I don't know.
That's weird. It's like
Yeah, like you hear moo, like most everybody else, all
that's what they hear.
all the blue dress people, they hear burp.
It's like a secret language.
So one of the things with milk, man, is like farming it. Like to get milk, all these different types of milk, it requires farming on a grand scale. Either you got these hella crops that it takes hella crops to come up with this milk, or you got a shit ton of cows, which is like a higher yield per acre, more work. Cows are bad for the environment. What are people doing? Is there any other dairy worth talking about? There's one type of dairy that takes almost no space, and nobody's talking about it. What kind of milk am I talking about, Johnny?
Lactate.
I'm not positive, but I think lactate is part of the definition of milk. I don't know.
I don't know.
The kind of milk we're talking about right now is cockroach milk, guys.
What the heck?
What?
Cockroach milk.
They don't make milk.
They make milk, dude.
That's disgusting.
Okay, so your average cockroach does not make milk. There is apparently only one type of roach. It is the Diploptera punctata, or the
Can you say it again, Taylor?
Diploptera punctata. That's the Australian Pacific beetle, which I guess is a cockroach. It produces what is called entomilk, and it is one of the only insects that's known that actually bears live young. So it gives birth to live little baby roaches, and it feeds those babies milk, just like humans do. Fucking crazy. And apparently they found that the way this milk exists in the roach is like in a crystal form, like in wherever its body part that it gets made or whatever. And apparently it's like a superfood. It's got all the amino acids, all the proteins, the fats, the sugars. Yeah. And apparently it's got like 3 times more energy than regular milk, or it would give you. But one of the drawbacks is it takes like 1,000 roaches for 100 grams of this milk.
I'm sure the
How much does this cost on the black market? What are we talking here? $200, $300?
Well, there's no actual prices of how much this costs, but if you want to talk about how much milk costs in general, dude, I stumbled upon, I was like, dude, okay, Cambodian breast milk, sure, people probably do sell it. People sell breast milk. So I did some browsing on the eBays. The average price for an ounce of breast milk is $2.50.
I don't know if that's a lot or not. Is that a lot?
Dude, the average baby needs between 19 and 30 ounces of breast milk a day, dude.
So it's
Lord.
That's like $75 a day.
So there's like an underground breast milk like surrogacy program?
It's the white market.
Fuck yeah, there is. Apparently, if you sold 25 ounces of breast milk per day at $2.50 an ounce for a year, you'd be making $23,000 a year.
These are those little math problems they had back in my
Booby
high
milk,
school
dude.
in the math book that I never gave a shit about. Like how many watermelons would take this guy buys 50 watermelons,
Yeah.
50 cents a piece. So
if you
Taylor,
had 2 breasts and 6 months, how many- but if you go on eBay, man, like there is no shortage of breast milk on eBay right now. No shortage.
That's
like I'm
insane.
seeing 50 ounces frozen human breast milk, $130. Weird. Yeah, these like I guess certain women produce like a ton of it. Certain women don't produce very much. So
certain people just like don't stop producing or lactating until they die essentially. So
yeah, so I guess
crazy.
that's just cool. Yeah, but unfortunately for this roach milk, it's like you can't milk a roach. Unfortunately, whack. So what they would have to do to harvest this milk is they would have to take the gene that creates this milk, and I guess this is being done, and they make a yeast culture that contains the gene, and they would essentially grow it like that, I guess.
So
I'm no scientist. Huh?
Why?
What are we gaining by having a roach milk instead of cow?
Well, we're getting rid of hopefully 95% of the problematic greenhouse gases that are out there.
Yeah, I just don't know.
By killing all the cows?
Right, like I like steak, you know what I mean? But still, aside from that, like the past few years, I don't know if you guys have heard, but like I've heard so many people trying to tell me that humans aren't even supposed to drink milk after they're babies.
Yeah.
Why would humans drink milk?
Well, so
Dude,
cats aren't either.
It's
humans
believed,
do all kinds of crazy shit.
It's believed that after birth and after you go through your whatever like adolescence, that humans aren't supposed to drink milk, and the claim is because however 100,000 years ago, or not even that long, whatever 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, humans didn't have a intolerance to lactate or lactose in general. But through the civilization we've formed today, in the world we live in today, humans drink so much milk that our bodies have like made it a problem. I don't know the exact definition, but like essentially we made ourselves lactose intolerant because we have so much of it, because we're not supposed to drink it. Humans were never supposed to. There are animals out there that are.
That's what doesn't make sense to me, like supposed to drink it or not supposed to drink it. It makes zero sense to me. Like, you can I eat meat, all kinds of meat. I'll eat any meat you throw at me. If you throw me human meat and we're at like some 5-star restaurant and it's like, okay, Taylor, this is legal, but you're gonna eat human meat. I'd be like, okay, let's fucking do it.
Well,
but you're telling me that it's right to kill something and eat its body, but you can't. But it doesn't make sense to like drink something's
I'm not saying
sweet booby milk.
I'm not saying carnivorous activities are wrong. It's been happening before humans walked the earth. I'm saying that at the point your body rejects it is when it's wrong. No, it's not morally wrong, but your body doesn't enjoy it. It obviously is lactose intolerant, whether you fart or you have indigestion problems. At that point, it's not right. No,
who says farting's a problem to me?
Well, at the point you throw up, at the point you have nausea, throw up, or have headaches, that's when it would become a dietary problem.
The biggest question here is, what were cavemen milking?
They weren't.
Exactly.
Well,
so
no,
what milk
just
were
the
they
mothers
drinking?
produce. It was just the mothers. It was just for mammals. Just the mom that produces milk. They don't have to.
Right.
I'm saying though, like as like
when they start farming and they start agriculture and stuff, they start having animals that they recognize. Okay, these animals are producing milk for their young. I own this animal. Maybe I should try the milk. I mean, it's desperate times.
Yeah, I mean, did they what if a T-Rex produced milk?
That'd be dangerous.
I mean,
cows don't.
Do
well, I guess
reptiles
cows
produce
do
milk?
kill
I
people.
wonder. I don't know.
Or like woolly mammoth milk?
So maybe that's
I
a
tried that.
difference. I guess with this beetle, it bears live young. So I guess it's typical for an animal or creature to, if it lays eggs, and I guess it does not produce
No,
milk.
it's mammals. I think it's mammal-only thing.
Yeah, I mean, we could spend the whole podcast on this.
So at the end of the day, Taylor, you're telling me that the whole purpose of this cockroach kind of breeding, or the gene that produces this, is going to be implemented in America or the world so that we eliminate a lot of the side effects by having cows around.
Yeah, like an unnatural amount of cows that like contribute to all these problems. Maybe roach milk isn't the answer, but maybe it's the right direction. Maybe there's something else that maybe there's a gene in the human body that they're able to do the same thing with. Like, why, if they can do this with a roach with a gene on a yeast culture, why can't they do that with any other animal
Bless you. Sneeze.
that produces the milk?
Sorry, Nick was about to sneeze. I don't want to pick out Taylor, but I saw him sneeze, and I was like, I gotta ruin this.
Hey, that's an emergency. You got to make sure he doesn't cough or fart at the same time. We could have had a dead Nick.
No, it makes sense.
My eyeballs might pop out of my skull.
It makes sense what you're saying. I just don't think the populace is gonna buy it. Like the people have such a stigma against cockroaches. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, they would have to like market it as nothing to do with cockroaches. I guess they would call it the Australian Pacific beetle, or maybe Diploptera punctata milk.
Diplo milk.
Doesn't sound
Diplo milk, cuz.
doesn't sound as
Diplop milk.
delicious as like cow.
Or some kind of they could call it yeast culture milk, and people who had no idea. They're like, oh, it must be some kind of a...
Lactose free?
It's like mayonnaise. I don't know.
Mayonnaise!
Well, leave it to Taylor to give us yet another cutting-edge, compelling news
Better watch
story.
out. Slice right through you.
You might. I don't even know where you get this shit from, but you know what? I'm grateful for it, and I think our listeners are too.
Nobody verify that was possibly all fake.
Yeah, probably all fake.
I really hope you made all of that up. The world will never know. We just won't know.
World won't know. I just deleted Google, so the world won't know.
He's wiped the internet clean.
Delete. Hey, yo, hi, bros. Little pause for the cause as we pass our money-saving powers on to you. If you're anything like me and you like chewing massive wads of gum while being admired for wearing hilariously gruesome t-shirts, then do the natural thing and head over to glorpgum.com and enter in the promo code I'm a Bro Lever. That's going to get you 15% off any purchase over $20. That's I'm a Bro Lever. I''M space A space B R O L I E V E R. Glorp.
Well, now that we've had a laugh, you ready to jump into today's topic?
Is it not a laugh?
I feel like Taylor's going to make it a laugh, but
Okay, good.
I want to laugh with you guys so bad.
I just want to laugh with you too.
Is this not a laughing subject?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put another disclaimer similar to the Malaysian flight. The following episode.
So aggressive.
The following episode is going to contain disturbing imagery created by my voice and also some very gruesome subject matter. So
the more
hold on.
Nasty the imagery is, listeners, blame yourself. Because this is a podcast. We don't show you pictures. So
yeah, we don't show you anything. It's all in
go
your
ahead
head.
and imagine the craziest shit possible.
I guess I can agree with... Well, it's fascinating because the human mind, if you give them anything, either it's a romantic or a horror story, they'll take it to the extreme. Without giving them an actual image, they'll make it to any extreme that their mind can. To what
to the extreme. I wax this chump like a candle.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what'd you say?
Word to your mother.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Anyway, so as me not having a computer, not having any of these images in front of me, I'm sure my mind can take whatever gruesome image you're giving me and make it worse.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a figure of speech. I don't have any actual images.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, well, then we're all in the same boat. All right, cool.
Yeah, perfect. Glad we got that covered.
Awesome.
Cool. And yet again, we're just trying to make light of disturbing topics with humor. There's no insensitivity ever. And especially on this episode, we want to keep things light. So there might be some humor and light of some of these things. And you know what? Just because we're trying to make things a little less dark. So, speaking of darkness, let's dive right in. Cool. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Yes.
Yes.
When I ask someone to describe a perfect day to them, it usually starts the same way with two things. Blue
Waking
skies.
up next to Taylor.
Waking up next to Taylor.
Nice.
It starts with blue skies and sunshine. Those are the two things that make a day so pristine and beautiful to the human eye. We associate rays of light with the positivity we as humans radiate on a daily basis. If the sky is gloomy and sunshine is non-existent, we respond and react differently because our mood has changed. But what if I told you that the word sunshine might not be as positive as we perceive it to be? In fact,
what world are you talking about?
What if I told you the word sunshine was connected directly to nuclear war, potential alien breeding, and dead babies?
No, I don't want to believe it.
We will discuss all that and more as we deep dive into the mystery and truth behind Project Sunshine.
Project Sunshine?
Exactly, Johnny. That's the reaction I was hoping for.
All I can think of is dead babies. Gosh, Nick.
How is that possible?
Sorry, I told you the visual imagery would be compelling and disturbing.
You're not talking about the sun. You're talking about a project via something.
So what I just imagined when you said dead babies, every time I hear the phrase dead babies, I picture this specific scene from Metalocalypse, the animated TV show.
Yeah.
It's a brutal show if you guys aren't
I love that
familiar with it. It's an amazing show.
Funny.
But there's this one episode, I forget what episode it is, where the very last scene, I think it's a situation where like all the prisoners in the world like get set free or something. And this crazy psychopath cannibal is like sitting down for dinner. He like puts his napkin up in his bib. You know, he gets his knife and his fork ready. And right before it cuts to black, it like, tilts down so you can see what he's about to cut into.
I don't know. I don't think you should finish the sentence, Taylor. I don't think you should finish the sentence.
It's a live baby.
We're a family podcast. We're a family podcast. Why did you go there?
I told you
I'm
not
just telling you, I just want the listeners to know what I envision when you say the words dead baby.
I didn't want to know that. I envisioned...
It's their vision's probably going to be lighter than that, more lighthearted.
All Taylor was trying to do was he was just going to break the seal for what's to come because
that's
you know what?
As bad as it can get.
We're going we're going in head first, Johnny, and this is going to ruin your day.
Great.
So during the 1950s, the U.S. government was concerned with the possibility of the continued use of nuclear weapons as a retaliation after the attack of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. They just didn't know how exactly fallout would affect human bodies and whether nuclear testing would be a hazard to human health. No shit.
Yeah.
First, Project Gabriel was created as an investigation by the United States Atomic Energy Commission to gauge the impact of radioactive fallout resulting from nuclear warfare. They concluded that the radioactive isotope strontium-90 is what presented the greatest hazard to life globally. After realizing the true severity of this specific isotope and acknowledging their lack of true understanding for its sheer power, the USAEC decided to launch a new project called Project Sunshine.
So what weird name to choose for it. I get it, though, I guess.
I mean,
Gabriel is like a very religious, faith-based name choice. So either Gabriel is the intern or scientist involved in the project, or they were trying to keep it religious-based, calling it Project Gabriel.
I thought it was Project Sunshine.
So Project Gabriel is the first project they launched to see, what exactly in radioactivity or in nuclear weapons would affect people. And then they found out how serious it could be, and they needed a deep dive, so they shut that project down and opened a new project and called it Project Sunshine.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me because if they make one, or they have one, hypothesis or experiment and to try to find this isotope, and they named it Gabriel, let's just say it's for religious reasons, and they realize, it's so messed up. Why would they call the second procedure Project Hell or Project Death?
Project We're Fucked.
Yeah, exactly. That's just like it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, sunshine makes sense. They're talking about radiation. That's radiates, I guess.
I mean,
it's kind of weird though. I mean, I'm thinking of like education when I hear Project Sunshine. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. Let's get money to schools. That's what I imagine, right?
We'll miss sunshine.
Let's learn stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think the big thing is what they said is that calling it Project Sunshine was sort of a distraction.
Yeah, 100%.
That it was like, hey, we're not going to be covering, and granted, I haven't really described what Project Sunshine is, and I'm about to, and you'll see how crazy it is, but it was very specifically targeted to not seem like they're doing really fucked up stuff.
So Mom, I'm not actually doing this.
Right. Yeah, it's Project Sunshine, Mom.
It's
We're
fine.
just investigating rainbows and fucking unicorns. It's fine.
It's totally fine.
For science.
Well, I mean, I understand that. Why would you allude to the fact that anything is wrong when you're trying to make it seem like it's not?
Right.
Or
so,
maybe they're not making it seem like anything. It's just like, we just got to get some funding. They like bright words. They like yellows. Make the packet yellow. Put the word sunshine on there. We're going to get the money.
They're going to get all those.
Send it off.
All those sponsors, when they find out what the actual material is in there, they're going to draw all their money back. Oh, fuck.
Well, at the time, the project was kept so under wraps that many were speculating that our own government were attempting to breed humans with aliens.
No!
Or even manipulate human DNA to make a form of super soldier to fight in the war that they were preparing for after all the bombs were dropping.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say this. If any listeners out there think that shit has never happened, you're lying to yourselves. Look in the mirror and realize you're living a lie. That shit has happened, for sure.
It's probably happened.
For sure.
Experimentation happens all the time. I mean, this happens.
There's no way it wouldn't happen. How could you call yourself a scientist, even be like a genome scientist or whatever, and not try that shit? Like, if I was a scientist, I'd be Island of Dr. Moreau all day.
No, I think it makes sense. It's believed that, like, in World War II, Nazis would take different, like, prisoners and try to attach different body parts to them and see at what point the human brain or human, like mental capacity would break and you die. Like, at what point would you shut off? And it's just, I mean, this sounds horrible, but it's in the name of science to figure that stuff out. Like, whether it's animal testing, whether it's, via humans, it sounds way more gruesome when it's on an actual Homo sapien, but you got to find it out for better understanding of human nature. That's what people do. Body donors, and they send their body off to hospitals to be like documented and tested, because it's the name of science. So
right. Well, it's funny. You say it's not funny at all. It's a terrible word to use because it's not funny. But the fact that you just mentioned what happened in World War II, this is where timelines are going to start adding up. And this is a good point to focus on for us to talk about when all this is said and done, because, for those of you who don't know, Johnny, you want to tell everybody when World War II was?
The start of it, 1927?
The fuck?
1945? Yes. 1945. What's 27? Oh, 1927 is the first, like, a Technicolor
We went
picture.
to the moon in 1927. I got that messed up.
It was the first Technicolor image for Fox Movie Tones. No, 1945. I'm
Random?
Sorry.
Random facts with Johnny Clark.
I'm horrible. I used to say Columbus Day of the Ocean Blue in 1982, not 42.
You only have to have a 2. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything about Project Sunshine was... Sorry, I just looked over at Johnny.
I'm so sorry. I messed up the date up. I know it's 45. It's okay.
Everything. So keep in mind World War II, 1945. Keep that in your head. So everything about Project Sunshine was non-existent when it happened, and we'll talk dates here in a second. But thankfully, many years later, more information has been released about the secret meetings held by the U.S. government at the beginning of Project Sunshine, to help ease us closer to understanding what the hell was actually going on. So on January 18th, 1955, one of the project scientists, Dr. Willard Libby, said that there was insufficient data regarding the effects of fallout due to lack of human samples.
Mm-hmm.
This is what truly spawned the insanity that began for Project Sunshine.
Insanity, or like Johnny said a moment ago, pure logic. You got to do it.
See, to me, I sound like a fucking crazy person, but it sounds logical. Like,
the
motives for doing it are insane. They're evil. But it's at a certain point, it's like a lot of things are evil for the good of science.
Man, you really don't know. At that point, it's never been done. Even before they exploded, it's like, who knows what's going to happen? Could have destroyed the whole planet. Could have destroyed the whole universe. Could have done something really cool, but
from the outside looking in, it's like, it's crazy. But when a scientist comes out and he's like, yeah, so, we don't have enough data because we don't have enough human samples. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then this next quote that I'm going to read from Dr. Libby that's come out, I don't care like how much logic is behind it. If you were sitting at like a secret government meeting and you heard this exact quote, you would be like, what the fuck?
Lay it on me.
So Dr. Libby didn't stop at the claim of lack of human samples. He even went as far to say, and I quote, "I don't know how to get them, but I do say that it is a matter of prime importance to get them, and particularly in the young age group."
Ooh.
So, human samples are often of prime importance, and if anybody knows how to do a good job of body snatching, they will really be serving their country. So yes,
Wow.
Dr. Libby proposed the idea of our own government body snatching for the sake of science and understanding of the effects of a specific radioactive isotope, after already nuking the fuck out of 2 major cities in Japan.
Wait, this is I thought you were talking about Germany. You're talking about oh man.
So
damn it.
why would they not just? Well, I guess this would be dangerous, but. So they're saying go to Japan and steal Japanese people. Or are they saying steal anyone who are children and then we will subject them to radioactivity?
They're saying steal, like body snatch any corpse so we can test. Yeah, so we can test. No, not live.
That's less bad.
So
that makes less sense to me. It seems to me that this does not reflect my opinions or what I would do in this situation. But it seems to me like it would be logical to go to Japan and take some Japanese people.
Well,
people that have been affected.
Right. Well, they needed so that was doing the research. That was my initial question: is that why, after we had been through 2 wars, why do we not just take the bodies of soldiers, or because they've already essentially signed over to the government, this is happening, yada yada yada.
Well, is there like some radius too? I wonder. Like, there's probably not a lot of dead bodies, right? I mean, I'm no scientist, but there is like disintegrated, right? Like the majority of people that were involved, like there must have been a blast radius where people weren't disintegrated but still died, I guess.
Right. Well, if like people were killed in action, there's damage to that person, whether they were shot, whether they were blown up, whatever it is, there was damage done to their bodies, which I guess to them, it was too much damage. They needed a clean, fresh corpse.
I would argue that let's call it, what's that place? They had a huge nuclear blowout. It's still like contaminated to this day.
Chernobyl,
yeah. So I would argue that it's like a Chernobyl situation where we don't want to go to that, radiation area. Right. Why would we go and risk our own lives to steal somebody and bring them back when they have radiation, when we can just take somebody that has no radiation and then put them in a controlled situation where only they will get radiation?
Right. Well, what you could do is you could try and find scientists or groups of scientists who are already there. Like, they're from Japan. They already have stake in the game. They want to find out what the hell's going on.
They would not want to help us after Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but
I mean, the world was
science,
at war.
Science, I would say, trumps a lot of that. Like,
no,
like we just straight up took all the German scientists and we're like, hey, these are ours now, and you guys are going to work for the U.S. And they're like, okay,
But we didn't really have and that's the crazy part, is like we didn't really have a leg to stand on, because our government at this time had this secret project to go, hey guys, this thing that we're using as chemical warfare, we don't really know what it does to people, but we need to test it to make sure our people aren't getting hurt from it. And if they are exposed to it, how hurt and how harmful are they, is this thing? And it's hard for people to get behind something when you're like, oh yeah, so we use this in Japan. Okay. And now we don't really know what it's going to do to us.
It's like shooting asking questions later.
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
looking back, our point of view is like, they didn't know at all what it was going to do. How could you? It's never been done before.
The whole purpose was that we made a nuclear bomb, we made the A bomb, and then we're like, let's just do it. Like, there's no time to think, no time to test.
Just use it.
Just use it. Like we made the gun. Don't test it out. Just, we know it's deadly, and do it. So there was definitely, shoot and ask questions later.
So was this in a period of time where, it's the 50s, 40s and stuff, where we just got done with all these wars, so people are like, whatever the fucking U.S. says, like, whatever my government tells me, I believe wholeheartedly. So they could almost just say anything at the time, and people just assume, oh yeah, the government came out with this bomb, so they've probably been testing it for the last 1,000 years, or 100 years, or whatever. They've been testing it, I don't know. Like, I don't think that would fly today.
Well, I don't know, a little side fact, I just remembered this. My great-grandmother B was the only woman to work on the A-bomb project, the first A-bomb project. I just remember that from my head, little tidbit. Shout out to my deceased grandma B, first and only lady to work on that.
Dude, making steps for ladies everywhere.
Crazy.
That's great.
Well, she also contributed to the death of a lot of people. But
she probably didn't know what she was working on, though, right? I thought that was like part of the argument. Is a lot of these people had no idea what they were doing.
I don't know, man. At a certain point, if the people who are being trusted to work on a gun don't know what the gun is, they're not. It's like
they're I guess gun. Let's say a gun, but like there's a gun builder, sure, but most likely like there would be someone who makes the trigger. There's someone who makes the spring. There's someone who makes the screw. Yeah. No one knows where the hell that screw is going. No one knows that it's part of a gun, but they know that it does fit in these model guns or whatever. You know what I mean?
And it just assembles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless, a little side fact. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So
very interesting.
It was bad enough that our government had to secretly snatch bodies to experiment on, but according to Dr. Libby, they needed young bodies.
So to clarify for me, because I was hooked that these had to be live people. These are dead bodies.
Yeah,
these are dead bodies.
That makes sense to me. Because
dead bodies that have not been affected by radiation or that have been affected.
They're clean, right?
Yeah, dead bodies that have not been. I'm getting there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. I needed that foundation. I'm sorry.
Give me an example. So Dr. Libby needed young bodies, the bodies of babies. And the reason behind needing tissue from the bodies of the young was simple. According to Dr. Libby,
it always is.
The developing bones had the highest propensity to accumulate SR90 and thus the highest susceptibility to radiation damage. So over the course of 2 years, more than 1,500 quote-unquote samples...
Wait, how many?
1,500
oh my God.
were gathered. These samples were taken without prior permission from the deceased or from the relatives of the dead. This wasn't even known until many years later that it even happened. There's even instances, and this is where it gets dark, of British scientists obtaining children's bodies from various hospital beds and shipping their body parts to the United States.
Oh my, this is so hard to swallow.
One British mother had said that her stillborn baby's legs were removed by British doctors to hand over for testing. Not only was this happening in the U.S. and Britain, but this was happening all over the world from Australia to Europe.
Wow.
In which direction? Are we including America or going from Australia to
everywhere?
Across? Okay.
So I still really haven't like formed an opinion on how I feel about like being buried or like, being burned or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that even bothers me. It sucks that they were literally stealing these things.
Well, I think it's different. If I'm deceased in the ground, I think it's a lot different than if I'm in the hospital just died.
Right.
Kind of. I mean,
dude.
I don't know. Like for science, I don't even know if I'm an organ donor right now, to tell you the truth. But I just have no real opinion. I'm not religious, so I don't really have an opinion on what happens to my body after I die.
Well, it's really,
So
depending on religion, I don't think it really matters what your body is left behind. It's your soul or your spirit that moves on. But what I find so crazy is that these are human people that are disfiguring or taking apart these cadavers, and they're not male adults, which is I can easily swallow the idea that soldiers in the World War II were just disfigured and taken apart. I can stomach that, but these real people are going to places and taking apart babies, dude. That makes me so mad. Like,
they're not live babies, though.
They're still fucking
babies. But they're deceased. They're no longer babies. They are no longer babies. They're deceased.
Well, to their families, they're babies.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that cloudy line of like, do they exist anymore?
Well,
where are they? Does the body matter? Or is it more important that, we can't, like, we have to sacrifice that family's feelings because their judgment is clouded by their feelings. You know what I mean? So the scientist has to step in and take it.
Right. Well, and these were doctors who were trying to contribute. So there's all these like side stories and plots, and like there was an investigation launched because this mother who was hoping to see her baby who was stillborn, and these British doctors were caught up in the whole Project Sunshine thing. There's no information online about how they were connected, how they found out, why they were connected. It's crazy to me. And so she wanted to launch an investigation because she couldn't even have an open casket to dress her stillborn.
It's gone. Well, it's
because they would not give it to her because they removed its legs, and she couldn't know that any of its body parts were removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, so she created an investigation, and And after that investigation was created, everything became silent.
Ah, weird.
Like
I read
crazy.
recently that I would assume this no matter what, but like you go have surgery done or something, you have to have your leg amputated or your foot amputated. Like the hospital has no right to tell you that you can't take it home with you. Like they have to give it to you if you
it's like
it's
wisdom
yours, you know. Yeah.
Right.
What part of what parts of the body would they not give you? Like
I think any part you're allowed to keep. I think maybe.
But
the
at
fear
what
is that you can
point?
sell
At
it.
what point does the child gain its own ownership? Like, is that 18 years old? They're like, okay, I own my own body now. But before that point, it's up to their parents. It's like it's their parents' body.
I
Right.
think so.
That's weird.
Well, I think even deeper than that. The only thing, and I don't agree with any of this. I don't align with any of it. I don't support
none
any
of
of it.
us. Little disclaimer: none of us are condoning the acts of any of these cruel methods.
No,
I love
reviewing
babies.
I love babies.
Babies are I like babies when I can return them. I don't want babies, but
Jesus Christ.
when I can return them to the rightful owner, babies are awesome.
But this was like we have to remind ourselves that this was the 1950s. This is when men were drafted into the military without choice. This is when the world was at war. This is when coming from World War I, coming from World War II, going into the Cold War, and then after the Cold War there was Vietnam. So essentially, like war was constant. I think back then it was one of those things where like you didn't have a choice. Like you didn't have a choice because if there was a project that our government was putting together, you didn't have a choice. As long as you were helping the cause, that was it.
Yeah.
But to keep it so secret and not like say, hello, we're going to take your dead baby for the greater good of the world. They just took the baby and said, I'm sorry, we can't give you the baby.
Yeah, you're essentially...
Like the secrecy, there's too much going on.
Yeah, on one hand, you kind of, I don't know, part of me is like, okay, maybe they should have just been like, okay, we took your baby's legs. This is why we took your baby's legs. And there's nothing you can do about it. We took them. We're going to continue doing it, but at least we're telling you. I don't know. Maybe that would be slightly better.
Well, and doing all the research, I kept asking myself, I was like, well, what's the point? What's the fucking point? Like, at what cost what conclusion do we come to that, sure, the strontium 90 is going to hurt human beings? Like, is that the conclusion? So finally, after digging, I discovered that on February 8th, 1957, the study concluded. And what did it conclude with? That the amount of strontium 90 found in humans worldwide did not indicate an immediate health hazard for atomic testing. And that's where all the public information ended.
It sounds like it's very little testing to me. Like not even close to, like they did a whole lot. They took a lot of babies, but it was like half of a step without following through.
I agree.
But of course, I'm sure there's hella levels that we'll never know about. That would, probably a lot of follow through.
That's the thing. Like everything I just read, that's all the information that exists.
It just stopped. The information stopped.
That's it. And then there was another test shortly after Project Sunshine concluded in 1957 that they did tests on cows and grass and radiation levels in there. That if a cow ate grass affected by radiation, the grass consumed by the cow affecting the cow's milk, the milk affecting the person drinking it. They did a very short-lived test on that, and then that sort of concluded as well with not a ton of information. And then in 2001, I believe, the Clinton campaign tried to dig up more on Project Sunshine, and they found like 2 documents, and they released them, and it didn't really say anything. So I know we have tons of hypotheticals that we can talk about, but as of today, many of Project Sunshine's project files are missing or have been destroyed once the project was finished or shut down for whatever other reasons might have been the case. There are many rumors that once investigations were beginning to launch about these missing corpses, they changed the name from Project Sunshine to something else that is still a mystery to this day. If the government was involved in stealing stillborns for the sake of testing the body's response to nuclear activity, what else were they testing and why? Was there more going on that we don't know about? Even if we were in danger of nuclear war, we were still in control of the largest arsenal of nuclear weapons ever. So, like everything that we've talked about so far on this podcast, this just doesn't make any sense. There are too many holes in this that deserve to be filled. So let's fill these holes and figure it out.
I personally, I don't think there's any shortage of secrets out there. Now, I'm not saying there's like government secrets, man. The government's trying to. No, I'm not buying into anything crazy. Well,
maybe you need to open your eyes, buddy.
But I would argue that there are certain things, certain projects, like whatever that thing came out, I think in this Trump campaign about like the JFK assassination, there was different things that came out in documents. I think I was with you, Nick, in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other podcast there.
So there are things that have come out that are like conspiracy theories that have been documented. I would argue that there are so many things that we don't know about experiments via species, breeding, or aliens, whatever it is, that we will never understand because it's either like Area 51. I almost said 55. Area 51, or just things that we can't comprehend because of our pea brains. But what we're given in this, the gruesome facts, it just, to me, it blows my mind because like something so intricate as a human life, I think should be known by the populace.
Yeah, but like on the flip side of that, and this is crazy to make the comparison, and I know listen, crazy is not a word that is used anymore on this podcast. Like, we're very
be gone.
Talk about some weird shit. But when I think of like X-Men, I think that if you're going to take something, you're not going to take a 25-year-old man and try to transform them into like a super soldier like Captain America. I think if you're going to try to create something, if you can't do it from birth, you're going to take a baby and you're going to try to experiment on the genes of that baby to have it grow into whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Well, movies say different. Movies say otherwise in things like X-Men and like, I sound dumb for saying this, but even like Twilight, that infants
yeah, that's dumb.
Okay, it sounds dumb, but infants affected with supernatural abilities are the most dangerous. Like an X-Men
Star Child.
I
mean, even in Star Wars, they're like, Anakin, you're too old. We can't train you. You're too old. And he's like fucking 8 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old or something.
It's well. I think that argued the opposite. I think in Star Wars, if you're not trained at a young enough age, they can't train you because you're lost that point. I was arguing the fact that kids are the most dangerous when it comes to superpowers. This sounds so dumb that I'm saying this. It's like anyways. So, but I would say it's. I'd argue that it's better or smarter to train somebody that understands human limits and ramifications like an adult rather than a kid who doesn't know any better. Because like in The Incredibles 2, like Jack, look at, I mean, it's a cartoon, but like it doesn't know what it is, and you're giving it superpowers, and that's just.
But like if you have cages and a bunch of unethical shit, like you're in control of that. Where if you have a person. Well, no, I mean, like, you can box that thing in.
Can you, though?
Yeah.
What if?
Dude, wait 1 second, Taylor. I wanted to talk about this. So, if this super soldier,
I love that he's just like, shut up, Taylor, I'm talking.
Anyway, so if this super soldier is actually super, let's say it has an ability, and we don't know what that ability really entails until we make it, there's no way we can contain it.
Well, they would know. They would take the gene.
Would that gene mutate and they'd actually have lightning vision or radiation, and those things were not calculated because they were mutating in their body right then and there. I just don't think we could.
They roast it and move on to the next one.
Dude, it's not that easy. You can't just roast it and say delete, boop, it's gone.
So it seems like a stupid test to me that they would do this on dead bodies. It would have made more sense to do it on live babies and to test how it affects them as they grow. It makes no sense to do it on dead babies unless
mutants.
They think that they're going to turn into zombies.
Yeah, post-mortem, that'd be interesting if they could.
But like, why zombie babies though?
Well,
you could kick a baby pretty far.
Oh my God, Taylor, you can't say
a zombie baby. You could kick a zombie baby pretty far.
You could kick a zombie baby pretty far.
You've seen the zombie babies?
Yeah, I've seen the zombie babies. They exist. So I'd argue that. Okay, the only reason I agree with you, Taylor, is that people would use babies because they're easier to delete. I'll say, rather than a human, because if
that makes sense.
A super soldier baby is less super than a super soldier 25-year-old, I'd say.
Well, and they also weren't, they're not erasing the history of this baby's existence. So maybe small body parts are, maybe they literally had to smuggle these parts. So maybe small body parts are just easier to move around undetected. So I'm sure there are some doctors in this hospital like, no way, you're not taking that. You're not taking it. I'm sure.
Possibly. I mean, there's got to be more. My moral code would say, go fuck yourself. Kill me before you take this thing.
I don't know. My moral code would be like, I don't know. I need to know. I need to know that you've got. There's a plan here. There's got to be a plan,
please.
Yeah, let me know what you're doing.
There are so many factors involved in this that blow my fucking mind because it's like, how do the doctors who aren't involved in Project Sunshine know to rob hospital beds of deceased infants and young? How do they know, what were they getting? And if they know about the project, unless the project somehow enlisted certain doctors.
Right. Yeah, they're probably part of some sort of a guild or something that, they do stuff like that. Like, if you were in a scientific group, if you're in a big scientific body, it would make a lot of sense to form groups in order to really make studies happen, especially if you're in different parts of the world,
The hardest hypothesis, the things that really boil down to what your morality code is, they have to sign off that stuff. Like we discussed in the Bohemian Grove, we sign off the idea that we're killing these things for the sake of science. These are the group that we're in. Yeah.
It just, there's just too much here, I think. The fact that there's nothing that exists further than what I've given you guys information-wise, and I even had to dig pretty deep into the bowels of the internet. But I think there's so much more to this that we don't know, and
there's got to be.
Yeah, none of it makes sense.
Maybe they name it Project Sunshine because they know a lot of these tests are going to be pretty grim outcomes, and they're like, okay, we're going to label it something that once we come out with the outcome, once one single test says anything positive, boom, it goes under that label, Project Sunshine, and that's what's published, But
I have a hypothetical for you guys. Taylor, I'll Taylor first.
All right.
Taylor.
I'll answer first then.
What?
I'll answer first then.
Okay. So, Taylor, at what point does your, human instinct, does your moral instinct kick in and you wouldn't let a study happen to a human?
I don't know. I think it would have to be like a situation, per situation.
So
if it were being done on me, fuck no. Yeah. If it affects me in any way, go screw yourself.
So that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And I guess I could ask Nick the same thing, and if he answers it similarly, then it would be a null. It'd be a moot point. But I think that's all it comes down to is that you can push it off as it's not me. It's fine. Yeah. And the same thing happens with animals, it's like testing on animals, or since it's not you, it's fine. If it doesn't affect you, it's fine. But if it's something else,
you have to. You got to preserve yourself, man.
I agree. I agree.
We all are equal rights. Yeah, we all have the same rights, but I'm more important than everyone. I'll be damned. If it came down to it, okay, let's say that I did something. Maybe it was pretty heinous. Maybe it was really heinous, and something that I would never do. But let's say that I got thrown into jail, into prison for life. I would do everything I can to get out of that jail.
Of course.
Prison, legal or not. I would do everything I could to get out of that prison.
Because your life is over in there. Your only
life is over. Yeah, you're in self-preservation mode. At that point, no laws would matter. No one would matter, other than people I deem important at the time. I guess. I don't know.
I agree. And Solipsism in our reality podcast definitely dived into the idea that if you're the only person, and I believe in this, if you're the only person that really exists in your reality, then it doesn't matter. Anything else is just whether an AI character. I don't care if they do simulations or tests on other people, but even though I believe that I'm in my own reality and you guys are in different realities, I still can't validate or let another human life that is. I don't know. I view it as not a human life. Nick,
it's dead.
But yeah, it's dead. But I don't want to. If I was Nick, you made this podcast just to fuck with me.
I don't know. I didn't know. I just don't view the experiment as desecration. I don't know. It's for the good, for the greater good.
I agree. At a certain point, I'd agree, but I think we crossed. I would have crossed the line, or it would have crossed the line for me. I agree. For the greater good, human experiments are needed, but I just can't validate it for a young person.
Well, if it wasn't a baby, you'd be cool.
Oh yeah, like I understand. Like I played Wolfenstein, and there was a scene in which a scientist
Wolfenstein, German Johnny.
So, and I played, and there was this doctor, I can't remember the name, but it took apart one of your allies. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling the game. It cut one of your friends in half and it tried to put it to another person and like see if it would work, if you could like make the neurons or like the different connections in the body, top and lower half, work. Doing it, you can't simulate that. You have to really do it. And you know what? It sounds super crazy, but like, their goal is to see if what the human body can take, and it makes sense to me. You have to do tests for your general hypothesis and figure out really what the human brain can achieve. And you can't do it in a lab. You can't do it, testing, family friendly. There's got to be, cost. There always has to be cost. But I can't. No matter how much more susceptible the baby bones are, I couldn't do it. I couldn't fucking do it.
We'll take it all the way back to the beginning of this podcast and talk about old... Oh, wait. We didn't talk about Benjamin Franklin. We talked about George Washington. Well, let's talk about Benjamin Franklin.
Benny Franklin.
So I think in the last year or two, one of his properties that he owned over in Europe...
Oh, yeah.
In London, I believe. Yeah, like the basement was excavated, and there were tons of bodies in there.
There were tons.
Tons of bodies.
What was that movie with Shia LaBeouf in it?
Holes?
My gosh, the horror movie.
Transformers?
No, the horror movie.
Holes.
It was
the good one.
It was
the Battle of Shaker Heights.
No, it was live next to that.
The Even Stevens movie.
Live next to that chick in the pool, and then he went to the house.
Like vacancy? No vacancy?
Dude, what? You don't know this movie? He
I feel like I know
had
what you're
house
describing,
arrest.
but I don't remember it.
House arrest. Look at your computer.
Rear Window.
Look it up right now.
Disturbia.
Disturbia.
You knew the whole fucking time.
I was just thinking of Rihanna songs. Ugh.
Yeah. I knew it was Rihanna. Yeah, Disturbia. And in that, the guy had bodies near his house, and George, apparently, Benjamin Franklin did too, which is fucking crazy. But back then, the experiments, it's like, in every single movie, which a mad scientist or evil person or the villain is experimenting in a heinous way, you got to think, well, it's not just to be a dick. There is an end goal. Now, I wouldn't validate that and say you should do it there at home, but I mean, they got a reason.
To all you listeners at home, please don't take bodies, dig them up, and experiment on them. Please, that's a PSA from Johnny. Please don't do that.
I mean, like, Frank.
It's actually illegal. I don't know if you guys knew this. It's illegal to dig up dead bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called?
Grave robbing.
Yeah.
Now, is that anywhere in the world? Or is that, or let's say anywhere in the United States? Or is that just in like, does a place have to be notated that this is a graveyard?
I think it's anywhere in the world.
I think it's
like a cemetery.
Thing.
Like, so it has to have a headstone? You have to know that someone is buried?
Even like in the catacombs, I'm pretty sure it's illegal to like take or disfigure skulls. Or bones.
Well, I would imagine at that point, yeah, because it's like a international play, like it's a national registered landmark or whatever. But I'm just saying, let's say I was out in my backyard. Obviously, I couldn't get in trouble if I was just digging and then I hit a casket. There's no headstone or anything. And I take all the gold that's in there, rightfully so, right?
Of course. Finders keepers, losers weepers. I think for the purpose of self-gain or for the purpose of grave digging, like it's you're doing the intentional grave robbery. But if you're just digging in your backyard trying to find some treasure, like your backyard's probably just full of holes.
Oh, is this a cemetery? Sorry, officer, I didn't recognize those fences. I thought I was weird. I had to climb over wrought iron fences that had spikes on the top. I thought it was weird, but yeah, I'm just digging a pool.
I think it's illegal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, hey, guys, it's just one of your high bros here. I just wanted to pass along a 10% savings at futuremonsters.com. If you're into the Wolfman, if you're into Frankenstein, King Kong, Dracula, you can go to futuremonsters.com and you save yourself 10% on any of the high-quality threads. They got amazing designs on a quality fabric print. I'll tell you right now, I got one last week. It feels really good on my body. If you want to save 10%, put some stuff in your shopping cart, enter into the coupon code. You want to enter in capital HYBRO. That's capital HYBRO. That's Hybro. Capital HYBRO. Get yourself 10% off.
I don't know. I still think the idea of Project Sunshine, there was something bigger there. And I think that there are, I don't think there are, I know there are, that there, back during World War II, there were many, many claims that Hitler was actually doing a lot of very bizarre experimentation.
I'm sure.
Very bizarre.
And if that got back to the U.S. With Britain as our ally, why wouldn't all of our allies work together, collectively sit in a room and say, hey, we need to be aware? Because that's how, wars generally work, is that if someone has something you don't,
you upgrade.
You have to upgrade.
Yeah, well,
you got to do what they're doing.
It's a shitty thing. I say this often. World War II, every war, but World War II especially, brought a lot of death. Whatever, 300 million, it's 30 or 300 deaths. But it also brought so much to the scientific community, the medical community. Like, there's so much gain because of the constant, I need to be better, I need to have a bigger stick. The constant need for human survival that humans on both ends of the spectrum, from Nazis to U.S. soldiers and England, that we had to essentially upgrade to win, and therefore we have the crazy medical advancements. And
if you think about it, we wouldn't even have Stanley Kubrick's The Shining to highlight all of the moon landing hoax things, his shoot that he shot the moon hoax landing. That wouldn't even exist. Yep. I had somewhere awesome I was going the whole time he was talking. I totally forgot where
I
was.
Like, I don't know where you're going.
You're
with
saying
this.
It wouldn't exist
I don't know where.
if we didn't have an arms race to get to the moon?
Okay, there we go, Johnny.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick would not have made The Shining to highlight all of this moon hoax bullshit.
Arms race. No,
if we weren't in the arms race, man. If we weren't trying to beat everyone and get to the moon.
There's so many things, and we can release a lot of films that talk about, even like Forrest Gump, that talk about Vietnam, Nam, or whatever. Like, there's so much that humans have accomplished. It sounds so horrible, but via war, like even napalm, like when you drop it from like,
I was literally just about to say, like, Vietnam was the napalm battle. Like, who had the most?
Yeah, napalm is one of the most, and I think the world, there's some kind of like group that the world agrees on, where like there's like certain warfare you can't use, like lasers, sound, blinding agents, and napalm. There's like different like things you cannot use in warfare. It's like humanly.
That's odd in general.
Wrong.
How there are limitations to warfare.
You
Makes
look it up.
I'm gonna look that up.
You look it up. Like, what is not allowed in war on the world scale, and napalm is one of them because it's just so inhumane. I think nuclear war isn't.
Nuclear war certainly is.
Pretty well. If it's not usable, why do we have some nuclear subs? Why are there being nukes?
That's why people are mad at us.
Well, we're not the only people with. Okay, I don't want to defend America, but we're just the teachers in the room
I'm pretty sure it's
calm.
Frowned upon to use nuclear bombs,
which we're
I'm
not.
Almost positive.
We're not. No, we're not using. So what I was saying is that through medical advancements, through warfare advancements, and through weaponry advancements, wars bring upon the most upgrades and positives via medical understandings of the human body and what they can do, and negatives in death. But I mean, the ends don't justify the means, but war does a lot of good and bad.
I mean, if you think about it, from all the way from Medal of Honor all the way up to like Modern Warfare, those games wouldn't exist,
dude. And I know
I wouldn't be playing any of these zombie fucking shoot 'em ups, dude. They wouldn't exist.
I love zombie games. They need to be a zombie standalone game. For God's sake, I find it weird. I find it weird that Call of Duty has made a lot of Nazi zombies as if like Germans were trying to do some kind of Frankenstein's monster kind of things and like experiment on cadavers and deceased post-mortem things. It almost makes sense that that's where it all came from. That like it was Nazis that were trying to experiment and see if human bodies could be reanimated after death.
I think that idea is pretty old. I think there's was it South American tribes that like in their histories, they zombify people as like a, like instead of putting them into jail or putting them to death, it's like an alternative punishment as they zombify them. And I don't know exactly what it is, but they do something to the person's brain, obviously. And they are described as a zombie, basically just a walking vegetable that can do chores, I guess.
Lobotomy, like turn off the consciousness and leave on all the...
Yeah, leave the motor skills intact and stuff.
That sounds like way worse to me than death.
All right, I found all the.
All
here
right,
we go.
Nick,
The weapons that are banned from war according to the Geneva Convention.
that's what it is.
Slingshots.
Mustard gas,
Yep.
nerve gas, phosgene gas, tear gas, pepper spray,
What?
plastic landmines, spike pits, biological weapons,
Tiger
flamethrowers, napalm, blinding laser beams, non-self-destructing landmines, poison bullets, and dirty bombs.
The whole purpose of this, I'm not trying to validate or give light to this, but the whole purpose is that if you take out the human's eyes, senses, or leave them in agony, like when you injure a human, not to kill them but to torture them, it's inhumane. And it's believed in the U.S. Army especially that you shoot the leg, and therefore you don't take out one soldier, you don't kill them.
What?
You don't take out one soldier, you take out three, my friend. So let's say it's you, Nick, and I, right, Taylor?
Okay.
And let's just say, I don't know, we're Russia, we're some other country, and a U.S. soldier, U.S. sniper, shoots my leg. Well, I'm not hopping away. You and Nick both are going to carry me out, and that's three people that can't help the fight. The whole purpose is to not kill them. The whole purpose is not to kill them in these pits, in these biological warfare, these lasers, these blinding elements. It's just to hinder or push back the fight, which is almost less humane than just killing them all out.
Frag grenade was that on there as well? Or not a frag? That was on there, but
I think the purpose is to not. The purpose is not to kill. That's when they stop it.
God, it's just so ass backwards.
I know. I agree.
And all these weapons, I love. Sorry, this isn't funny. All the weapons are considered too inhumane for war, like pepper spray. And also,
our police use these fucking things.
Yeah, our police use it. But also, can we just highlight for a second that spike pits are
common weaponry, I guess. I've come across a few myself.
That's where the line is drawn.
Is that when you're in a spike pit, you're not dying. You're just going to, like the guy in Goonies. When they almost fall in that spike pit with the piano around them. It's like you wouldn't die. You'd slowly bleed to death, and that's inhumane. Now, it's war. It's so hard to describe what is humane and inhumane. But they made those things, so they do have some boundaries, some rules and regulations against what you can do.
And lasers,
through your eyes.
Because I'm gonna shine a laser in your eye, make you walk 5 steps into a spike pit, and then I'm gonna pepper spray you.
It's for blinding. Apparently, lasers are one of the most effective ways to kill, on a large scale, for ants, and it would be almost like 10 times stronger than a nuke. You let out one laser blast that blinds the whole enemy, and
only
they
blinding
have no
laser
chance.
blast though. You can use a laser apparently that sears through their skin or some shit, obliterates them. As long as it doesn't blind them in the process.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
That seems crazy.
Isn't
mustard gas, can't you accidentally make mustard gas, when you're mopping the floor? I've always been told you mix certain chemicals,
What the fuck? This slide don't clean my house.
I worked in the restaurant biz for quite a while, in the pizza biz, and, we had to mop the floors every fucking night. And you'd always make your mop bucket with certain chemicals that they provide you or whatever, and then you kick it up with some bleach, baby. You pop some bleach in there. Little did I know.
I have heard that.
Make it mustard gas, bro. Don't mix bleach with other cleaning chemicals. It's bad news.
Yeah.
It is commonly mistaken that the combination of ammonia and bleach create mustard gas.
It's commonly believed
it
or
does
commonly
not, I guess.
misconceived?
But it will hurt your nostrils, give you headaches, and possibly make you pass out.
Very, very similar to the dangerous mustard gas.
I just all of this. I know we're so off track, kind of, but all of this stuff is making me question. We've literally wrapped around to the dangers of war, to the time of experimentation, and how you constantly have to be one step ahead of your opponent in war. But how so many things are also banned from war itself, and yet, in the 1950s, this Project Sunshine existed to test something that wasn't banned at that time.
I don't think that there was a Geneva Convention that
No,
banned.
the Geneva Convention's been around for a long time.
You think I don't think they banned lasers back then. I don't think they had the ability to do lasers or napalm.
The concept of the future fucked them up so hard. They're like, if there ever were lasers, we got to put a ban on this right now.
Sharks with lasers.
1864.
They banned spike pits and mines, plastic mines.
We banned dragons,
wizards, anything the future could hold. And hoverboards.
No magic beans.
but mostly dragons and wizards. Because if a wizard comes in riding on the back of a dragon, starts shooting lightning bolts out of his butthole, we're gonna have to shut this down. We can't take a catapult and launch it.
Baby.
It's a hell no, because then they'll get the princess, or then we'll all be fucked.
Oh, Nick, you should have been there for the Geneva Convention creation.
I'd be the one being like, guys, I know you're talking about spike pits and snakes, but we need to talk about the real world problems here. We need to talk about the dragons that are living up in the mountains, so we need to talk about how to protect our princess.
They're going to say, Mr. Floyd, this convention has been in order for the past 400 years. You best believe we formed this round table convention based off dragons alone.
Yeah, and I'd say, you know what? Have you based them on T-Rexes? Because I haven't seen a single goddamn T-Rex in this Geneva Convention.
Nick, you would have the longest laundry list of things you couldn't use. You couldn't use open-toe sandals. You couldn't use...
Not to the sand will get up in your toe cracks, so you won't be able to do anything.
Listen, I don't know why there are certain almost stupid or unnecessary weapons you can't use, but there is a certain number of them. And what I was getting at is that through the progression of warfare and everything else, positive, negative, that comes with it, there are certain things that humans have dictated that is too much or too inhumane.
Yeah, you know what wasn't too much is the damn Trojan horse. Where was the Geneva Conventions for that?
Dude, that was so
That was
long
just
ago.
a nice gift.
For like 3 hours until it was nightfall and they jumped out of it.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Penetrated.
That's good. That was good, Taylor. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. That was good. That was really good. I'm so surprised that we could go from something so dark to like actually have Taylor bring it back to a good time.
I don't care how many times Dead Baby is mentioned. I'm going to keep it lighthearted. Not about Dead Babies. I just mean like I'm going to be lighthearted. You can say it as many times as you want, but you're not going to bring me down. And I feel like our viewers, our listeners, have that same mentality.
I'm the weakest link.
You can't be brought down ever.
Don't bring me down.
The
computer malfunction. Nick need to reboot.
I don't know. Okay, so we have just a little bit of time left, and I want to spend it on the hypothetical of have we been secretly developing, whether it's Project Sunshine, whether it's Project Steve Rogers, whether it's Project
A Wizard's Butt Lightning.
I don't know what the name of the project would be, but do you both think that super soldiers have been an attempted development since dating back even before the 1950s? Like, do you think that this is something that has been attempted by our government?
I would,
Most absolutely in every government ever.
I would say even back in cavemen, there had to be some idea we can give this guy a chemical or herb. I'm saying way back in...
They grunted at each other.
No, I'm saying...
No, it'd be like, give him that extra leg. He needs
dinosaur legs.
Well, the boiled down point is that give, Bob over here an extra portion of food and he'll have a better chance of killing that woolly mammoth.
And at that moment, centaurs were created.
I'm sure there had to have been... they were using tools and stuff and, socializing with each other in some way. So they had to recognize this dude's better than me at this. This person's better than me at that. This woman's better at this.
Sure.
And they start, working with each other in that way. So if you got one dude who's 6'6", the rest of your tribe is 5'4", yeah, dude, he can have all of the extra bones. He can have all the extra food.
And they're essentially
he's the only way we're going to be eating.
And they're attempting to make a super soldier. And that's a small portion to, I think, government testing that we have the technology now to actually give somebody chemical, injections or something. At the end of the day, humans will do whatever they can to win the fight and survive. And if that's going to be altering someone's DNA, they're going to do it. Or going to try.
There's a large part of me that's like kind of pissed at Johnny, but also like I'm in love with him right now because he just gave me this, and I can't get out of my head, this vision of like cavemen all gathered around in a fire, and they just killed their first velociraptor, and they cut the velociraptor's head off, and they're trying to sew it onto like the biggest, like tallest, craziest looking dude, and like he died in the process because the velociraptor ate his fucking face off.
Oh my god!
Now they've chopped his head off completely. And they're trying to sew it back on and make a superhuman cave raptor.
Well, hasn't it been proven that Dolph Lundgren and Kurt Russell are super soldiers?
You lost me.
It's a deep cut movie reference from the late 80s, early 90s, Johnny. It's fine.
I would go ahead and throw Jean-Claude Van Damme in that mix as well.
I would. He's in the new ones.
I would say...
Universal Soldier.
It's over my head. So I would say any advancement towards a human, whether it's like biological, like a leg amputation, or like humans will do whatever they can to make themselves better. Apex humans.
Survive.
It just makes sense. Now, and you can assume that via a weapon, like when an extension, either a sword or a spear or a gun or a bomb, like the attachment or the ability to have something with you, like what's it called when you have it's not the sword is one with you. It's like what's it called?
Arm.
Yeah, it's part
An
of
appendage.
you. It's part of you. You know, I think a super soldier is a big term. I think at any point from now on, people are going to, or from before us now and on, past, present, and future, people are going to be trying to advance just to win the fight in any way they can. I mean,
Dude, yeah. So I've imagined this before. Have you guys ever seen these videos where it's like, or like experiment where it's like a mind control experiment? They even make little board games like this where you put on a little headset and you concentrate
I've done it.
on like the fan, to hold the ball up.
Yeah.
So like the extended part of that is, okay, I saw one experiment where it was like chimpanzee, his arms are strapped to his side so he can't move them, but his brain is hooked up to like a metal arm, and over time he can figure out how to move that arm to pick up the food in front of him and to put it in his mouth. What if you took an infant who's new to life, brand new, born, and you have some interface made where the baby straps into this interface, and this interface has multiple arms, maybe hundreds. Maybe it has 100 arms. And it has like this crazy long list of shit that it could do, but all this baby has to do is learn how to interface with this machine. It knows nothing else, so there's plenty of room to learn, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That'd be fucking crazy. That's a super soldier.
Yeah.
Damn.
That makes sense. Or even take somebody, I know, like phantom limbs, right? Where you you
get amputated, but you think you still feel it?
Exactly. And then they can give you an arm and with no connections to your nerves, but you can physically move that via the muscles. I think you could scale that up to a baby and then learning how to manipulate inanimate objects or different. I think that's definitely possible.
But I wonder if it would be limited to like, okay, they have 2 arms and 2 legs, so they're limited to 4 appendages, or could they be because no limit, basically,
if you were raised to believe you had 5 limbs,
right?
You have 5 limbs,
right? Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
If that's not happening somewhere in the world, or if that's never happened somewhere in the world,
I mean, octopi
Bill
have
Gates should not make any
each
sense.
leg.
I thought Windows was making moves. Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft
nuts.
Infant.
No, it's believed. It's not believed. It's known that octopi have brains at each one of their legs.
I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation.
Octopi?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
It's octopus. It's octopus is octopi.
I think that's a common misconception. Let's look that up.
You look it up, but it's that they have a brain in each leg, or at least 7 legs, and the 8th one's a wee-wee. The smallest leg, or maybe it's a squid. One of the smallest leg is a wee-wee.
Okay. All right then.
It's octopuses. It's octopuses.
Is it really? It's octopi?
Nope, octopuses.
That sounds dumb.
But the word octopus
brains, right?
comes from the Greek, and the Greek plural is octopodes.
Ooh,
and
I like
so
that.
people mistakenly create the erroneous plural octopi based on the Latin rules.
All right, well, if that's what I'm wrong about, fine. I'm pretty freaking certain they have a brain in each leg.
Yeah, they do. No, you're right about that.
Cool.
All right. Well, now we've come to the end. It seems we're just kind of
Never.
We went a long way.
hanging out. What?
We went a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we did go a lot of different ways. So, guys, if you have any information about Project Sunshine that we might have missed, any documents that have been hidden, any things that I missed in my research, please drop us a line at our email at hybrothoughts@gmail.com. That is hybrothoughts@gmail.com. Also, if you have a hypothetical you want us to talk about, also feel free to drop us a line. And don't forget to make sure to head over to the Facebooks and give us a like at facebook.com/hybrothetical thinking. If you don't know how to spell that, you're not listening to the podcast. And you know what? You're going to need all your news from us now on, because Facebook has announced that they're getting rid of their trending news section on the right side of the page that we all know and love so much.
We've done it.
We've done it.
We're taking over.
We're taking over the Facebook. And also make
We're
sure
going to be integrated smoothly into the app now.
if you guys like the podcast and you want more of it, please make sure to let us know in the review and comment section of our iTunes, TuneIn, or Stitcher page. Just click that little 5-star right there. There's 5 of them. Click that 5th one for us. Go ahead and do that right now. We'll wait.
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
And leave a review. But in the meantime, I just want to say as parting words, guys, we're very excited. We haven't covered this yet, but it was announced last week that Lake Loch Ness is about to have a very long investigation using the technology called eDNA. And that is a new form that's going to track certain genetic materials in the lake. So we just want to wish the best of luck to the scientists behind that operation at Lake Loch Ness. We hope for the best, and we hope that maybe you will give us a key to the fairyland so that we may ride on the back of what we know as Nessie.
How could you leave
Give me a
me at
ride,
that?
Nessie. We're going to find you. We're going to find you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So best of luck. And guys, make sure you also
Drink your Ovaltine.
drink your Ovaltine. Sure. Yep. Let's get back on track.
Drink
there.
the lactate. Drink your lactate and stay healthy.
Avoid lactose, please. Any parting words, fellas? Anything?
Party on, guys. Party on Nick and party on Johnny.
Party on my wayward son.
Great. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We're so grateful that we are able to still do this on a more serious note. And you know what? Very soon, we're going to have some exciting news to share because you'll be able to find us in public somewhere, which is pretty crazy.
In real skin? Human skins?
Yeah, in another city.
Where are we
Somewhere
going to
else.
find bodies?
Tease. We're teasing it. We're teasing it.
Little tease. So we're going to keep teasing it slowly but surely, and then we're going to be like, surprise!
Surprise, motherfucker!
Here we are!
We just
cool.
got to find
All
some
right.
human skins to jump in, and we'll be all set.
Because we're all lizard people. So with that being said, I have been Nick.
I've been Taylor this whole time.
I've been Johnny the entire time.
And we still will be until the end of time when this podcast is still going and taken over by our secondary selves. I said too much. All right, guys, thanks so much.
Bye.